I've been talking to you for 10 years, and today I'm going to reveal something that I've never told you before. And that is this: I am disgusting. I occasionally enjoy the comments that Taco sends along to me, and this one I wanted to share with you. If it's your first time here, my name is Andrew Henderson. I'm the founder of Nomad Capitalist. We're a boutique consulting firm that helps 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally reduce their taxes overseas, protect their assets, and build their options and their freedom. I also host the biggest and best offshore conference called Nomad Capitalist Live, and it was on that basis that one Kevin Kelleher, this is the name on the comment, decided to come out swinging. And every once in a while, I like to share the haters with you and kind of decompartmentalize their arguments as to why what we talk about here, lowering your taxes, protecting your options, increasing your freedom, is so important. So here's Kevin's comment. You entirely fail to mention, 1, how few of the countries you talk about, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here just to add some context, how few of the countries you talk about actually build roads, but instead the money actually goes to a corrupt few, usually authoritarian bosses. And 2, armies of the most dishonest people have flooded into Canada and the US, and now they are stuck with a hefty increase in criminals. You are frankly disgusting. You have no loyalty to anything but personal greed. In this time of terror, I have always opposed dual citizenship resulting in 2 passports. That's usually what it means. You never mention that the U.S. residents right now enjoy the greatest freedom and comfort in any period of human history. I guess Kevin is a Rhodes Scholar, a noted expert of the entire course of thousands of years of human history. He knows all. But you never mention that the U.S. residents right now enjoy the greatest freedom and comfort of any period in human history. Since World War II ended, we have enjoyed the greatest modern world benefits, healthcare, security, unlimited travel, etc., and none more than your selfish clientele. Your ethos is gimme, gimme, gimme. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Gimme, gimme, gimme. More and more, and get someone else to pay for it. You really are disgusting. And then he ends with, this is my favorite part. By the way, I am far from low or middle income. This is my favorite part, by the way, because whether it was the guy who came up to me on the street to insult me, how he has much more money than I do. This is on my birthday. I have much more money than you do, and your nasty staff wouldn't accept me. Yeah, maybe they wouldn't accept you because you're a jerk to everybody. And you just proved it. Or whether the people who's like, I've got a lot of money. I don't hear Elon Musk or like Bill Gates going around saying like, I got a lot of money. Let me tell you something. Listen here, Sonny. I'm far from lower middle income. Yeah, listen, you want to make it a competition, Kevin? Okay, let's do that. Let me go back and pick this apart, though. I entirely failed to mention how few countries actually build roads. Let me tell you this. I have been to well over 100 countries, have lived, depending on how you want to define live, in quite a number of them, spent time in many of them. In just the last couple months, have driven all over parts of Serbia, including relatively rural parts of Serbia, Malaysia, was in the UAE, was in Ireland, was in Spain, and some others. I can't recall a bad road. I do recall bad roads when I briefly lived in Southern California in the mid-2000s, 2007, I think. When I was earlier in my career, and I remember driving to Southern California and thinking like, is there something wrong with my car? Like, is my tire flat? What's going on? It was like driving on the surface of the moon, that I-10. There were some roads that were just in horrible, horrible shape. In the highest tax state, one of the highest tax places on earth, I literally always thought my tire was flat. I grew up in Cleveland. I've never seen more potholes anywhere in the world than growing up in parts of Cleveland. You had to swerve to avoid these things. And so this usual thing, here's what people do when they talk about, go where you're treated best. They get so angry, as this guy obviously is. They get so jealous because they have to say how they're lower middle. Listen, Okay, I think I'm doing a little bit better than Kevin. By the way, it's irrelevant. But he wants to bring it up as if to be like, you're a nobody and I make a lot more money. Well, then if you made a lot more money, you would know that we're not talking about the Central African Republic here. We're not talking about moving to Papua New Guinea. We're not talking about moving to French Guyana. We're talking about moving to normal places where normal people live, where there's normal functioning life. Do you think I'm sitting here running a growing business for 7- and 8-figure and 9- and 10-figure entrepreneurs sometimes, sending people to East Timor? They're going to normal places that are as good or better as where they're at. And as a kicker, they're dramatically reducing their taxes. They're getting more personal freedom. They're getting second citizenship, whether it's either now or they're getting on the track to get that later. They're just getting a lot more. This is the free market in action. The thing that the United States and Western countries are supposed to stand for is find the best opportunities and grab them by the horns. And it's just not anymore in countries that take 40 and 50% of your income. And to say that these other places don't have roads, yeah, you know what? I guess I've been to some places. I was in Lesotho a number of years ago in southern Africa. And I remember driving out to the real middle of nowhere, and yes, there were some mud roads out there. Not on the way like out of the capital city, but you get 2 hours out, you got some mud roads. So you know what? Let's compromise. Don't move to Lesotho. Problem solved. Most of the money goes to the corrupt few, usually the authoritarian bosses. I don't know entirely what people care about that. Most countries outside of Singapore, perhaps New Zealand, are the Scandinavian countries have built-in corruption. People like, oh, I went to Nicaragua and I hear that the police stop people and ask for $20. Right, as opposed to it costs $1 billion to become elected president of the United States. Yeah, which is the bigger corruption? The $1 billion to basically make decisions for the entire free world, or the $20 to get out of a speeding ticket? I mean, really, let's be honest. So there's corruption everywhere. I'm not trying to defend corruption. I'm against corruption. I think everyone should have an equal shot. But let's define a level playing field, Kevin. And everyone who wants to say that if you follow our advice, you're going to go to some kind of corrupt hellhole with no roads, okay, great. Number one, show me how your country's any better. Let's actually put them head to head, because the United States, let's pull up a corruption ranking. It is like in the middle of the pack for real. When you actually look at a qualitative analysis, it is not really anywhere near the top. I mean, it's not Central African Republic levels, but it's not Norway levels either. And so we have to have some kind of level playing field. Now, the next point he makes is armies of the most dishonest people have flooded into Canada, the U.S., which you would think that they had the most rigorous immigration vetting practically of anywhere on earth, that they would be able to stop that, right? By the way, those people weren't taking my advice. They would be staying where they're at. So I don't know, who are these corrupt officials who are all sneaking into the U.S.? Maybe he's thinking of the Nazis after World War II. And now they're stuck with a hefty increase in criminals. So right in here, Kevin's making my point. The U.S. and Canada have become refuges for criminals. So do you want to live around criminals? I don't want to live around criminals, right? I mean, I like to be squeaky clean. They call me the goody two-shoes of the offshore business. I want to be around squeaky clean people. I don't want to be living around crime and chaos. So if they're flooding into the U.S., number one, it says something about their immigration strategy, that it's like extremely difficult to get into place, and yet the criminals get in? That doesn't make any sense to me. But hey, all the more reason to go where the criminals aren't. I'm frankly disgusting. Well, on that I can't argue. You have no loyalty to anything but personal greed. Now we get into the ad hominem attacks. You know what I have loyalty to? I have loyalty to a mission that I'm on to empower people. We just got a comment the other day from someone who said, hey, I watch your stuff. He said, I don't make a lot of money compared to some of your clients. But he said, I moved to Colombia because I saw it on your channel, and I met the love of my life, and now we're getting married. And that was pretty powerful. And I'm sure there's others out there. Saw another message. I was going through stuff recently. I moved to Georgia 2 years ago, and I'm one of the many people here who is here because you talk about it. And it's been a great impact in my life, and I appreciate it. It's not just about reducing taxes. It's about increasing your quality of life. This is my goal. I'm helping people who, like myself, many years ago, there was no Nomad Capitalist, but I wanted to take advantage of everything the world had to offer. I want to be part of the up-and-coming opportunities out there. So I have loyalty to my mission. I have loyalty to our team. We have employees around the world. And whenever I think of, hey, what if things went wrong? I know I'll be fine. I'm fine with or without this, but I take pride in providing opportunities to people to grow personally and to make money and to make more money than they might make somewhere else. I have loyalty to my own family. I am married. I have loyalty to friends. I have loyalty to causes that I care about. That I have more money, not giving 43% of it to the United States government, to the state of Arizona, what have you, to be squandered. And so I get to go out and donate some of that money to causes that I have loyalty to that are important to me. Now, it is convenient to overlook all that stuff because then we just make everyone a one-dimensional character. The media likes to do that to wealthy people. Everyone's just one-dimensional. They're difficult, they're nasty, they're arrogant, they're selfish, they stomp on everybody else. Sure, that's good if you just want to make excuses for why you're not successful, Mr. Far from lower or middle income. In this time of terror, okay, what is this, Shakespearean? In this time of terror, I have always opposed dual citizenship. Certainly entitled to that opinion. You're going against the grain of where the world is going. Countries, Germany, Norway, all sorts of countries are opening up dual citizenship because we live in a global world. But, okay, you want to be isolated, that's certainly your freedom. What I never mention, he says, is that the U.S. residents right now enjoy the greatest freedom and comfort in any period of human history, which, okay, so does the world in general, by the way. As I sit in Malaysia, people in Malaysia enjoy the greatest freedom and comfort of any period in human history. Look at Malaysia 30 years ago. The growth trajectory here has been a lot greater than the growth trajectory there. This country and many of the other countries we've talked about have come from really being in dire straits. Maybe Malaysia wasn't in dire straits, but it looked a heck of a lot different. Countries like Colombia, yeah, dire straits. Countries like Georgia, countries like Serbia, they've had some problems. They figured out how to overcome it. You know what I have loyalty to? People who figure out how to solve problems, people who don't give up, people who are fighters, who keep pushing, and they come out the other end better than they were. You can't say that about folks in the US right now. And so the trajectory of many Western countries is not going to be as good in the future, and you're already seeing that. The people that Kevin is not, the low and middle income people, are being squeezed due to all the bad policies of the politicians, due to the increased global competition. It's already happening in the United States and many Western countries where people are getting squeezed. They have the greatest freedom and comfort. No, they actually don't. Look at wages adjusted for inflation. Now, I would argue that part of this is because I can go to Malaysia and I can hire people there, or Serbia or Colombia, and I do. And therefore, the demand for labor in the U.S. isn't as high as if people like me didn't go where we were treated best. There's more competition these days, and that's good. Nobody complains about consumer competition. Nobody complains about more job opportunities. The fact that you can live in the U.S. and work for a British company remotely, no one complains about that, but I'm supposed to feel guilty because I take advantage of opportunity. I'm supposed to what? Run a charity for everybody where I grew up just to give them a job, even if they're not the best candidate? No. I don't believe that the U.S. has the most comfort of any period in human history. Freedom? I don't think you could make that case either. Certainly you could say, hey, living life as a human being today is in many ways better than other times in history. We have all sorts of technological advances, some of which, by the way, are the reasons that you don't have as many freedoms. And the government can spy on you, and all sorts of things are happening. So I don't even agree that you have freedom and comfort, but I get the sentiment, and fine, but so do a lot of other countries. Why do you need to stay in one when you can get it anywhere? Since World War II ended, we've enjoyed the greatest modern world benefits. Healthcare. Your healthcare is in the mid-30s when ranked among all the other countries. You've got literal, what he would call third world countries that are ranked higher for actual quality of care. I haven't gotten health care in the United States in years, and yet every year I go and do my full checkup and all the numbers look good. Security, a lot of places have security. Unlimited travel, not during the pandemic you didn't. Not whenever your government goes and gets into a spat with other countries. But okay, relatively unlimited travel, no doubt. Do you know who else has relatively unlimited travel? The Mexicans. They can go pretty much everywhere except for the US and Australia. Do you know who else has relatively unlimited travel? The Malaysians. They can go pretty much everywhere but the US and Canada. There's lots of countries that have excellent travel these days. So none of you apparently have benefited more than our selfish clientele. Well, you know what? When people stand up and take the world by the cojones and say, I'm going to do what's best for me, do you know what happens? That's when empires are built. That's when innovations are developed. That's when change happens. Nobody ever changed the world by passively sitting on a couch. So, of course, it's easy to paint people who stand up and take control, who get things done, as selfish. For someone who's apparently such a high-income person, you're doing exactly what the mainstream media does, exactly what liberal politicians like Elizabeth Warren do, who just say, oh, you're rich, you must be a jerk. No. People who have been successful, who've worked hard, say, you know what? What am I getting for my $500,000 or $1 million or $10 million in taxes? You know what? It's time maybe I'm a little bit more selfish, some of them say. I've been sitting here and watching the media, watching the population, watching the politicians spit on me for not paying enough when I pay 100 times what they do. Maybe I should be a little bit selfish. And in doing so, I can be selfless because I'll have more money to contribute to hiring more people, giving more opportunities to people who actually want them, contributing to more causes, helping my family, helping all the people that I am loyal to with all the extra money that I have. So spare me the gimme, 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 Mr. I'm angry. You probably couldn't be our client, Mr. I'm not low or middle income. I'll let you decide whether I'm truly disgusting. But the idea of go where you're treated best is human nature. It only happens to be offensive for people who are wealthy and successful and are supposed to play the part.